Hey everyone, it's Team FWDfuel, and today we're talking about nutrition for professional athletes. My wife, Kylene, co-founder of FWDfuel, works with the Cleveland Cavaliers. She's worked with all kinds of professional athletes, all different sports, all different levels, from figure skaters to professional football players and obviously basketball players. So today we're bringing you 3 big mistakes that you commonly find with your athletes.
Professional athletes. And why does this relate to you? Because it's probably an issue that you're experiencing. Believe it or not, it doesn't matter how talented you are, there's still room for error. And a lot of these guys, and women, but I work mostly with men at the top level, you know, they've come so far and they've fine-tuned their skills, but they haven't really fine-tuned their nutrition. And so, and that goes for a lot of you, but I want to help you stay ahead. I want to fill you in on some of the most common errors and mistakes that you don't experience the same, right?
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like so many athletes, you've been a stud your whole life, or you've excelled, and so you've focused on just your craft, and you're good, so you didn't really worry about so much the nutrition, but then a couple years into your career, maybe you have an injury or two, and you're trying to prolong your career, it seems like the players then start to get on board with nutrition.
For sure, yeah.
The guys seem to change, am I right? That, you know, a few years in, all of a sudden the guys that didn't care and were walking right by you,
right,
all of a sudden they're coming
back.
back.
And the injuries are probably the 2 big things that get them to perk up.
They're asking a few questions. So, all right, so tip number 1, what are we gonna do?
All right, number 1, strong sugar cravings, especially at night, especially for simple sugar like candy. Huge across the NBA. And I mean, I guess a lot of sports, but
In America,
I mean, but just, and really a lot of pro sports, but, and also many of my clients, my, you know, average everyday humans, people who have never played a sport in their life. What's with these strong sugar cravings at night? Of course, there could be a whole mecca of reasons, right? Nutrient deficiencies, yeast overgrowth in the gut. But the big reason is, the most common denominator is the fact that the meal timing is off during the day and the macronutrient proportions are off. So that means their protein-fat-carb ratio as the day goes on is nowhere near where it should be. It's thrown off. Usually carb is triple where it should be, and protein and fat are down towards the bottom. And then meal timing. You know, these guys might skip breakfast, have a little lunch, maybe a little snack, and then they're just ravenous later at night. And when your blood sugar drops because you're ravenous, the body says, wait, self-defense mechanism, I need sugar to bring myself back up for energy, for survival. And it's like, give me those Skittles, baby. So that's that's where that comes from.
It's bad enough that sugar in itself is addicting, and it gets the pleasure center in your brain to light up, so that's like you want more. But then you set yourself up really for failure when you don't time things right and you're hungry and everything else.
Right, applicable to all. Number 2, inadequate protein intake. This is such a problem because whether you're trying to gain weight or lose weight or just maintain, it's important. Of course, we manipulate those numbers depending on who you are and what you're doing, but if you're not consuming enough protein during the day from the right sources, and again, at the right times, you know, eating every 3 to 4 hours, letting that body clear and digest and metabolize and assimilate, and then ready for more. Most people aren't paying attention to that. Again, they're skipping breakfast or skipping lunch, barely snacking, not taking their recovery shake, whatever you name it. Or they'll have, you know, 5 grams of protein at breakfast and 65 at dinner because they had a massive steak, right? I mean, all of that matters, and consistency is important too.
And so often we set ourselves up for failure starting the morning off with a bunch of carbs, whether it's some orange juice or it's cereal or a bunch of oats that don't include some chia flax and nut butter or something. But when you start your day with your blood sugar going up, you're really setting yourself up for failure, versus if we start the day off with some protein and some fat, some eggs and avocado, your blood sugars will be going smooth and you're already getting some good protein in for your recovery.
And last but not least, number 3, ignoring good quality supplementation. Now, to be fair, I was once the dietitian that said, you don't need supplements, you can get it all through your diet. You know, a lot of this stuff is hogwash. Don't blow your money.
And everyone says you're just
you're gonna pee it out, right?
You're having really expensive urine.
Yeah, which of course we know now is it's just not true when you're training at that level. Whether you're 10 years old or, I don't know, 40 years old, if you're training hard and you're just going through life, stress comes with that. Convenience food, grab and go, sometimes is part of that. Lack of sleep, poor quality soil, I mean, the list goes on and on. Overtraining, lack of recovery, I mean, it's just, there's so many loopholes that you can't eat a perfect diet day in and day out. It's just not realistic today. So even just a basic, good quality NSF for Sport multivitamin can go a really long way. And a lot of the professional athletes are still very afraid, very leery, which I get. I don't blame them one bit, and I respect that. But sometimes we need to fight to break through that barrier as a pro sports dietitian because it can make a world of difference.
Well, you remind those athletes that when you have something that's NSF certified, that means it's been tested for banned substances. Every single batch is being tested for purity. So, because a lot of guys are afraid to try something new, afraid it's going to mess them up. So then the other thing is just for the average person or even someone who's not too active, our food supply is not as vitamin and minerally dense as it once was. And there's studies coming out over and over right now that when you look at a strawberry, or you look at a banana, or you look at a carrot, compared to some of the studies they did even just 20 years ago, it's not as nutrient dense. The way our farming is and the way they're not rotating the crops, there's all kinds of things with that, but it's not as vitamin and minerally dense. So you need a vitamin to fill in the gaps with that.
Even if it's just every other day, just some kind of support will go a long way.
I don't know how many people can eat a perfectly balanced whole food diet that is organic, that is locally grown with every single meal. I mean, we would all love to do that. Who has the time? I mean, it's really hard. We have, on our blog, we have a really great post all about protein bars. And do we encourage people to have processed foods or barcode food? Heck no. But there's going to be times where you're in a hurry, you're on the run, you can't make something from scratch. So what are the best options? So, and that goes with having a multivitamin or something to fill in the gaps in the nutrition.
And if you, we can put it in the show notes, but we have links to our favorite supplements, good quality supplements, NSF for sport and not, and, and anti-inflammatory supplements too, because we believe it's really important. So
yeah, eat a whole fruit whenever you can, but it's not always possible. Limit the sugar, time your protein. Anything else?
That's right. Yeah, and just make sure you cover, make sure you eat protein consistently, limit the sugar, and just start your day off right.
Yeah. Pro athletes aren't perfect. We're not perfect. We can learn from everyone. So there we go. We'll put some blog posts in the show notes below. If you like this video, give us a big thumbs up and subscribe so you get notifications when we have other videos. Share with your friends so you can help them and you can help us grow this channel. Check us out on Instagram. Subscribe. You can give us a DM there if you have a question. We'd love to hear from you. Check us out on Pinterest and Facebook. And that's all for now.
Thanks, guys.